Good morning, everybody. And as usual, happy Saturday. Hope everybody's having a good start to your day. Let's get y'all up and moving. I am Coach Ray. It's today's stick mobility class. So we are still focusing on those spiral lines. So the strength training drills we are going to do is going to be a half kneeling rotational press. Sorry, I bit my tongue. More specific on kind of keep that more so upper body focused. We're also going to work in a progression of a drill we previously did, which was a push-pull. What we're going to do is we're going to add in pivoting or rotating the lower body to further shorten those lines. So we're going to need a door frame for that. Also have a pad for us to kneel on, and we're going to get into a Bulgarian split squat with rotation as well. So that one's going to be a fun one. We're going to go through our full body warm-up, and then we're going to go through a nice good cool down here. So let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to need both long sticks. Also, access to all three sticks will be needed today. So I have two long sticks here. And what we're going to do is we're going to start off with a stepping rotation and hang. So I'm going to start with my feet close together or touching. I'm going to have the bottom of both sticks in line with the heels of my feet here. Both hands are going to be roughly around chin level. Now from here, I'm going to bring my left foot up, step back into a hang, and rotate to my right. Come back forward, come up, and then switch sides. So step up and back with the right foot, go into a hang, rotate to the left. Make sure you breathe, step back up, switch feet again, up and back with the left, rotate to the right. We're always rotating towards, at least for now, that foot that's forward. Come back up, back. Step back with the right, rotate to the left. You want to try to keep your knee over midfoot. Good, let's go one more time each way. Lift and step back with the left, rotate to the right. Good, back up, step back with the right, and rotate to the left. Good, back to center, and come back up. So we're gonna get into a cat camel. I'm gonna turn to the side. I want both feet to be roughly about shoulder width here, hip to shoulder width. Toes are pointed forward. We're gonna have the bottom of the sticks about roughly a foot in front of the line of the toes here. Hands are gonna be about roughly shoulder height, always, but you can always adjust as you need to. So from here, sticks in line up with my midfoot. I'm going to sink my hips back, driving my hands out. Trying to create as long of a spine as I can here. Now from this position, I'm going to start posteriorly tilting my pelvis and creating flexion in my spine. So I'm going to tuck my pelvis first, and I'm going to create flexion in the spine. Try to drive my mid and upper back towards the ceiling, and then I'm going to go into extension, tucking my pelvis the opposite way, creating as much extension as I can manage. Go into flexion, point that spine up towards the ceiling, try to get as much spinal flexion as you can, then go back into extension. Make sure you're breathing here. Let's go two more. Tuck your pelvis in. Good, round that spine. Extension. Try to get as much of a curve in that spine as you can. One more time. Go into flexion. Breathe. Excellent, go into extension. Good, stand back up, nice and slow, and ease off. I'm gonna take a step back here. I'm gonna go with a wide stance. We're gonna work on rotation. I'm gonna have the bottom of both sticks on the insides of both feet here. Now my left hand I'm gonna keep right around rib cage height. Right hand's gonna be up around face height. You can always adjust this right hand or this left hand as you need to. So since my left hand is lower, I'm going to be doing a Cossack squat to my left. I want that left arm to come across. So from here, I'm gonna hinge back, just keep my knee slightly bent, and then I'm gonna do a Cossack squat to my left, I'm gonna bring that left arm across, pull the right stick towards my rib cage, come back up. Excellent. We're gonna stay on that same side. Lunge to the left. Want to really reach out with that left arm, pull back with the right. Back up. Let's go 2 more. Lunge to the left. Breathe. Excellent. Back up. One more time here, folks. One more time. Lunge to the left. Breathe. Good. Back up. Excellent. Now we're going to switch sides. So I'm actually going to turn it to the side here. And we're doing that same thing. So now that right hand's roughly about rib cage height, left hand's about face height here. So from here, lunge to the right. Bring that right stick across. And you'll see the sticks are actually pretty close to one another. That's the distance you want to have. Back up. Let's go 3 more. Lunge to the right. You want to actively pull with that top hand. Back up. Excellent. Let's go 2 more. Lunge to the right. Breathe. Back up. Let's go 1 more. Lunge to the right. Get that rotation. Good. Come back up. Ease off. Let's wiggle those feet in. Perfect. Now we're going to put 1 stick down. And we're going to take the pad. Need a pad for us to do on here. So we're going to do something kind of similar to the world's greatest stretch. I'm sure a lot of you might know what that is. So we're going to I'm going to turn to the side here. And I'm going to start with my right knee down and my left leg forward. So I want to actually have a pretty good split. I want to make sure I'm firing this back glute here. And so from here, I'm going to shift my hips forward. That's the first position. Now, what you want to think about is a stick. You're holding a stick across the chest here. I'm going to shift forward, and I want to place, so I'm going to rotate towards my front leg, and I'm going to place the bottom of the stick down. Now from here, squeezing that right glute, I want to drive my left knee out. And from this position, I want to pull the stick apart, and I'm going to pull this top hand going back. So I'm getting that posterior chain nice and active as I'm pulling apart and getting rotation here. I'm going to ease off, then I'm going to come up, and now I'm going to go the opposite direction. Rotate to the right, place the left end of the stick down, pull apart, and pull that right hand back. Good. Ease off. Back up. Rotate the right end down. 1 more time. Drive the left knee out. Pull apart. Good. 3, 2, 1. Ease off. Back up. And switch sides. So I'm going to show this from the front here. And the reason why we ended on the first rotation we did, that's the side we're primarily rotating towards. So this is a really good way to get those adductors. Now I'm in a big split here. Sticks on across, shift the hips forward, squeeze that back glute, rotate the left end down. From here, pull apart, drive that right knee out. Excellent. Ease off, back up, rotate to the left, place the right end of the stick down, pull apart, pull that left hand back. Good. Ease off, back up, rotate to the right, place the left end down. 1 last time, pull apart, pull that right hand back. Breathe. 3, 2, 1, and ease off. Excellent. Good. Now we're gonna kick the pad over to the side. We are gonna get into some shoulder or overhead type stuff, so we need to warm up them shoulders here. We're gonna first start off, and we're gonna grab a shorter stick here, but if you don't have a long stick, you can still use that. You just need to have your hands at the end of the stick facing away, your thumbs facing away from one another. So I got the 5 foot here. I'm gonna go with a wider than shoulder width stance. Squat down a bit, so we're gonna get into that horse stance here, stay nice and active. I'm gonna start with my right hand up. Fingertips are on the end of the stick. We're just gonna kayak. I'm gonna drive that right hand through. Left shoulder comes up and over. You wanna keep both elbows locked out best you can. You wanna keep it nice and slow, keep it controlled. Don't wanna get a lot of excessive movement from the spine here. Good, speed should be matching mine. Now we're gonna add in rotations. So as the right hand comes up and over, I'm gonna rotate my spine to the left. Drive that left hand through, rotate the spine to the right. So I'm getting segmental rotation here, adding in shoulder mobility and movement. Good, breathe. Let's go for a couple more seconds here. And ease off. Excellent, good. And now let's warm up external rotation. We are going to get in that overhead position, so external rotation is going to be necessary here. So I'm going to still have the short stick. I'm going to grab, you want to grab below the middle, right? So it doesn't need to be super low on the stick. You just want to make sure you have more than enough room to grab the stick here. Now I'm going to have my elbow bent at 90 degrees. I'm going to externally rotate my elbow, shoulder, and I want to keep my elbow in front here. Now this is massively important. You don't want your elbow down, you want your elbow at shoulder height, and you want to keep it directly in front. If you're coming out, pull it in more. Now from this position here, I'm going to, with my left hand grabbing the bottom of the stick, I'm going to pull into external rotation. Now I'm not getting a super significant stretch, I'm going for a light stretch here. Now from this position, I'm gonna pull the stick apart about 20%, keeping that elbow in front and at shoulder height. Now I'm going to try to compress the stick, and you wanna hold that tension, only about 20%. We're just warming up those shoulder tissues. Keep compressing. Now pull the stick apart, lengthen, and pull that left hand up a little bit higher. Now, all my fingers are on the stick. I'm not going with the 3-finger grip. Now, compress the stick. Good. Hold that position. Excellent. Ease off, nice and slow. And now we're going to switch over to the other side. So hold it at the bottom here like so. Make sure you got plenty of room. Externally rotate that left shoulder. Keep the elbow in front. Grab with the right hand, get that stretch here. Hold that position, pull apart 20% and lengthen the stick. Breathe. Also try not to lean, right? Stay nice and upright. Keep a nice, good, tall posture. Compress the stick. Good, still at about 20%. Remember, we're just trying to warm up those shoulders. Excellent. Pull apart. Pull that right hand up a little bit higher so you get a little bit more external rotation. Hold that position. You should not be getting pain here. Might feel like a stretch, but not pain. Excellent. Compress and shorten that stick. Hold that position. Going about 20% still here, people. Not going a lot. Don't need much tension for this one. Excellent. We're going to slowly ease off and relax. Now we're going to actually do a part of the movement that we're going to do on that first strength training drill. We're going to do a push-pull. We're going to move the stick up overhead. So remember, for this one, we need to make sure we're keeping control of the rib cage and the pelvis. You don't want a lot of this action. Sorry, it might have looked kind of weird. So feet are at shoulder width, toes are pointed forward. I'm I'm gonna get into a horse stance. I'm gonna drop my knees, squeeze my glutes. Always keep them tight, folks. I'm gonna go with a wide grip, much wider than, a little wider than shoulder width here. So from here, keeping the elbows straight, I'm gonna pull the stick apart with about 40% tension, and I'm gonna bring the stick up overhead, nice and slow. Keep in control of the rib cage. Get to that top position. Once you get there, compress and shorten that stick, and then bring it back down, nice and slow. So we're getting core, upper back, and shoulders. Pull the stick apart, 40%. Keep control of that rib cage. Keep those glutes nice and tight. Excellent, compress. Back down. Doing good. Pull the stick apart. Excellent, come back up. Keep control of the ribs. Compress. And back down. And ease off. Excellent. Should be feeling pretty warmed up now. Now we're going to switch into the half kneeling press. We're going to need the pad for this one, at least if you want to be comfortable. So I'm going to get the pad ready here. I'm going to drop to I'm going to start with my right knee down first. For some odd reason, that seems like a comfortable position for me in terms of what to start. But always start on your less coordinated side is, that's the opinion I'm of. So I'm going to have my right leg down or right knee down, left knee's going to be forward. So I'm basically in a position where, well, kind of like doing a hip flexor stretch. So I'm going to scoot back a little bit, sorry about that. So I want to create some space, or the split in the hips here. My back foot is dorsiflexed, big toe is driving into the ground. Now I'm going to have the stick in front like so. So notice I'm going with a pretty wide grip here. So I'm going to tuck my pelvis, squeeze my right glute, and shift my hips forward a bit. That's going to be the first part of the activation. Now from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to compress the stick about 60%, and I'm going to rotate to my left, going towards my front leg. I'm not going to rotate as much as I can, but from here, I'm going to press the stick up into an overhead position, keeping that right glute tight. Now pull the stick apart. 3, 2, 1. Bring the stick down, still pulling apart. Excellent, come forward and ease off. Excellent. So we're getting that up. So as we're in that rotated position, when you switch from that push or compression to lengthen, really getting those spiral lines in an upper chain really involved here. So let's go again. Squeeze the back glute, tuck the pelvis, split those hips, hands in front, compress the stick, 60%. Rotate to your left. If you can get a little more, go for a little bit more. From here, press overhead, still compressing the stick. Hold, pull apart. 3, 2, 1. Excellent. Bring the stick back down. Rotate forward and ease off. Excellent. Let's go one more time, then we're going to switch sides. Stick back in the same position. Split those hips. Squeeze that back glute. Stay nice and tight. Compress. Rotate to your left. If you can, get a little bit more, right? Make it a challenge. Press the stick up overhead. Hold. Pull apart. 3, 2, 1. Bring the stick down. Excellent. Rotate forward and ease off. Whew. Tough one. Tough one. All right. I'm going to switch sides. So now I'm going to turn to the left. Now, something to notice too, or you should be noticing, is that back glute that's firing, it should feel like that contraction should increase. As you rotate towards that front leg, that opposite glute should be firing a lot more. So I'm gonna do that same thing. Right leg is forward here, hands in front. So dorsiflex that ankle, so Squeeze the left glute, tuck the pelvis, shift the hips forward. Excellent. Compress the stick, 60%. Rotate to the right, towards that front leg here. Excellent. Press the stick up overhead. Hold. Pull apart. Excellent. Bring the stick down. Rotate forward and ease off. Excellent. Let's get 2 more here, folks. Doing good. Doing good. Try the back foot down. Squeeze the left glute. Split those hips. Compress the stick. 60%. Rotate to the right. Try to get a little more rotation if you can. Press the stick up overhead. Pull apart. 3, 2, 1. Back down. Back forward. And ease off. Let's get 1 more here, folks. 1 more. Try the back foot down. Squeeze the glutes. Split those hips. Compress the stick. Let's go 70%. A little bit more intense. Rotate towards that front leg here. Left glute should be firing like crazy. Drive that stick up overhead. Pull apart. 3, 2, 1. Back down. Forward. And ease off. Whew. That's a tough one, right? All right. Now, so what we're going to need, if you happen to have a door frame, that would be significantly better. We are going to be using both sides of the push and pull. We're going to need a long stick for this one, just so you have a good amount of distance. I'm actually going to move the camera a little bit. Sorry, folks. Now, when I said push-pull, we're doing both. We're not just pulling, we're not just pushing. But we are going to be in a position here where we're going to be switching what side the stick is on. Now remember, things are going to be a little reflexive here, yielding, so you're going to push with the inside hand, pull with the outside hand, and vice versa. We're going to start with the pull first. So I have the stick on that side of the rack, not behind. I'm going to have my feet starting off square here. Hands are at about roughly shoulder width, maybe a slight bit wider. Elbows are in. Now, as we pull, I want to create tension or pivot that outside hip. And I'm fully pivoting in. So from here, let's create tension. So let's go 60%. Pull with the inside hand, push with the out. Resist that want to rotate. You shouldn't rotate here, right? Now I'm gonna pick my left heel up, rotate it all the way. Rotate that left hip all the way in towards the opposite end of the stick. Place it back down and ease off. Now bring the stick behind the door frame, if you will. Now we're at push. We're gonna push. Good. Hold that position. Pick that right heel up. Pivot towards the outside of the stick. We're gonna get a lot of the spiral line firing. Those obliques are gonna fire like crazy. Place it back down. Ease off. Woo. Get a little bit of crampage here. Switch to the other side again. Let's go 75%. Pull, create that tension. Excellent. Pick that left heel up. Pivot that left hip all the way in as much as you possibly can. Good. Bring that heel back down. Ease off. We're going to push. Push. 75%. Right heel up. Pivot that right hip in. Breathe. 3, 2, 1. Place that heel back down and ease off. Oh man, this is some intense ones today. All right, let's do it again. Now I'm gonna switch sides. So actually be able to see what the back side looks like. I'll be able to make that connection here. So get in that same position. Sorry, start with the end of the stick in front. We're gonna pull. So from here, 50%, pull. Excellent. Pivot that outside foot all the way in. Excellent. Bring it back to center. Ease off. Bring the stick behind. Push. Good. Bring that left hip up, left heel up. Pivot. That left hip all the way in. 3, 2, 1. Place it back down. Ease off. Go in front of the rack. 75% here. Pull. Reflexively push that outside hand. Right heel up. Pivot that right hip in. 3, 2, 1. Back down. Ease off. Now we got the last push. We're at 75% still. Push. Good. Left heel up. Pivot. That left hip in. 3, 2, 1, and ease off. All right. Now, if you have a bench or a Bulgarian split squat machine, whatever you may have available to you, this is the time to get it. We are now going to be shifting over into the Bulgarian with rotation here. So we're going to grab the short stick. Now this is going to be a progression from what we actually did last week. Remember, we're in a half kneeling position, hands were flicked, pull, push, rotating to either side. We're going to effectively do that same thing. However, we're going from a split squat position. And we're only rotating towards the leg that's forward or the leg that's down, not the leg that's going to be on the bench here. So I'm going to start with my left leg down, right foot's going to be on the bench here. Actually, sorry. Move this over. Pull this in a bit more. So, left foot's down, right foot's on the bench. Got the top of my foot on the bench here. Now, since I'm actually going to be rotating towards my left leg, I actually want to make sure that I have my left hand up towards the ceiling. So, right hand's going to be down towards the floor, left hand's up towards the ceiling here. Find that distance that works for you. I have a grip that's a little wider than shoulder width if I were to put the stick out like so. It's only slightly wider. And I'm holding the stick diagonally here. Now from this position, hold the stick out in front. I'm going to squat down, keeping that posterior tilt. I'm going to pull the stick apart 50%. I'm going to rotate to my left. Good. Back forward. And push up off that left leg. Still pulling apart. Back down. Rotate to the left. Keep pulling the stick apart. Try to lengthen it. Excellent. Back forward. Push up off that left leg. Let's go again. Down. Rotate to the left. Back forward. Push up. And ease off. Now we're going to switch sides here. Now, the reason why this is a progression is we're actively holding position. So you get a stretch on that hip flexor, and as we rotate to the left, this line here is actually opening up. Right, that's why we're pulling. So we're activating that posterior chain here. So right leg's going to be forward, left leg's back. We switch our hands, so now right hand is up towards the ceiling, left hand is down towards the floor. Hold the stick diagonal still. So from here, pull apart, 50%, hold, rotate. Excellent. Back forward, push off the right leg. Good. Let's go now. Keep pulling the stick apart, 50%. Rotate to the right. Back forward. Up. Excellent. Keep pulling that stick apart. One last time. Down. Rotate to the right. Excellent. Back forward. Step up. And ease off. Excellent. Good job, everybody. Now, let's get into the cool down and the stretching. So we still are going to go through a full body warm up now, but we're going to start off with, full body cool down. Let's actually start with some dislocates. Let's loosen up those shoulders quite a bit because we were working on them for a while. Now for the dislocates, we're actually going to do this from a tall kneeling position. Here's why. We want to make sure that we don't get the low back involved and want to keep the movement true to the shoulders. So again, I'm going with the short stick. You can always grab the longer stick just to make sure you get that full range. I'm going to go with the short stick here. I'm going to be facing to the side. Now what I mean by keeping the pelvis in check, squeezing those glutes, make sure we're not getting a lot of movement from that low back, especially when you do dislocates here. I'm going to grab wide out on the stick. Always start out wider than what you think you need. That's the best advice I can give for this drill. Now from here, back, my ankles are dorsiflexed, so my big toes are into the floor, squeezing my glutes. Now from here, I'm going to pull the stick apart, and I'm going to bring the stick up overhead, and I want to come up and over, keeping my arms or elbows locked out. Then I'm going to come back, up and over, slow and controlled. Once I get to eye level, compress about 20% and all the way down and ease off. Again, we're trying to keep the pelvis from moving excessively here. We'll pull the stick apart, only about 20%, nothing too significant. Bring the stick up overhead, keep those glutes nice and tight. Breathe all the way up and over if possible. Once you touch your glutes, back up. Compress. Ease off. Good. Let's go again. Pull the stick apart. Come up. Good. Keep those glutes nice and tight. Trying to keep the body as rigid as possible. Come back up. And compress. And ease off. Excellent. Good. We're going to grab the two long sticks here. And we're going to get into an extension drill. Yet again. So we just did some rotations, some overhead presses. Really need to work on loosening up the spine here. Now, ideally, this would be best done in a corner of a wall, but I'm just gonna actually go a little bit more free here. Now I'm gonna be in that tall kneeling position. We've done this drill before. It's really similar. You always wanna kind of feel like you're hanging in your hands. So it shouldn't feel like you're not. At any point, you always are. So you're always kind of basically driving your torso forward or going down towards the bottom of the sticks here. I'm gonna have my hands roughly about forehead height here. I'm gonna have my ankles extended. So the tops of my feet are into the floor here. Now first thing I'm gonna do is keep my arms straight. I'm going to sink down. So I'm getting that stretch in the T-spine here. Excellent. Now I'm gonna bring my hips back. Try to sit on your ankles if you can, unless you're like me and you're super tight. Good. Always driving that chest forward. Then I'm going to come back up. Still getting that hang. Sit your hips back. Breathe. Come back up. Excellent. Let's go again. Breathe. Excellent. Back up. Come up nice and slow. Good. And ease off. Excellent. And now I'm going to turn forward here. It's going to be kind of simple. Side, we don't want a lot of excessive movement, or you want basically almost no movement from the pelvis. We want that movement to come from the mid spine, mid and upper spine to be more specific. So my right leg is forward, and it's actually relatively far forward in front of the bottoms of the sticks here. I want to say roughly about a foot. I'm going to have both hands up. Nice and high. Then what I'm going to do from here, back ankle is extended. I'm going to sink forward into that front leg, and I'm going to get a hang here. Good. So think about biceps close to ears, trying to create earmuffs, trying to cover those ears. So now from here, I'm going to lightly drive the sticks down about 10%, and I'm going to rotate my shoulders to the right, and then I'm going to rotate them to the left. So we're getting movement going both ways. Rotate to the right, and then left. Right, left. One more time each way. Right, and left. Back to center, and ease off. Excellent. Let's go ahead and switch sides. So I'll turn to the side here. So be in that same position. Sticks are lined up. Squeeze the back glutes, sink into that front hip here. Lightly drive the sticks down, rotate to the left. Now right. Movement is not that big, it's small. Left, right. Good. Left and right. Back to center and ease off. Nice and easy. Excellent. We're going to kick the pad over to the side. We do not need it right now. We're going to get into stretching out the hamstrings and the adductors. So we're going to get into a standing straddle stretch. We're going to have the bottoms of the sticks on our shoulders here. Now, I want you to be aware of, particularly for this drill, or try to keep a mental note of, is what your spine is doing. We want to keep that spine as neutral as we possibly can so we can actually fully access the hamstrings. So I'm going to go with a relatively wide stance, as wide as you comfortably can. Remember, you can always adjust your stance as you need to for your mobility needs. I'm going to have both sticks laying on my chest here. And the bottoms are angled out pretty far. Where the sticks are, that's going to be our guide for where we are reaching. So I'm going to have the tops of my hands on the sticks here, slightly bend my knees, and now from here, I'm going to sink my hips back. So I'm going to hinge, driving my hands going down towards the bottoms of the sticks here. Now I only want to go as far as I can keep my spine relatively neutral here. Now from here, getting a stretch of my hamstrings. And the adductors a bit as well, particularly those long adductors. Now from here, what I want to do, I want to create a little bit of tension on the sticks, so I'm going to drive my hands down. Good, I'm going to sink my hips back even further, increase that intensity of the stretch, and then I'm going to bring my hips forward to ease off, and then sink back again. Good. Bring hips forward. Sink those hips back again. All while keeping a slight bend to the knees. Go forward and then sink back one more time. Excellent. Keep that position. Move the hands up to right under the shoulders. Now I'm going to extend the sticks out. the sticks back to the shoulders. Assist yourself up, squeezing those glutes. Now wiggle those feet in. Nice and easy. Good. Excellent. Now from here, we're going to place one stick down. We don't need this stick anymore. We're going to go with some ninja flow. So we're going to work on that side to side, getting that rotation, also still working on those adductors. So I'm going to have my hands stretched out. I have a long stick here, by the way. You'll need a long stick for this one. So I'm going to have a slight toe out angle. Take a wide stance. Again, whatever's most comfortable for you. Sticks going across the chest here. I'm going to hinge. Again, you're going to get a little stretch in the hammies here. I'm going to rotate my torso and the stick to my left and place the left end of the stick down. Pull the stick apart and lunge to my right. Back to center. Bring the stick up off the ground. Rotate to my right. Place the left end down. Pull apart and lunge to my left. Good. Back to center. Come up. Excellent. Rotate to the left. Place the right end down. Pull apart. Lunge to the right. Excellent. Come back up. Rotate to the right. Place the left hand down. Pull apart and lunge to the left. Excellent. Back to center. Come back up. Squeeze those glutes. Wiggle those feet in. Excellent. And now we're going to get into the bow and arrow. I just want to finish off with this. We're going to work on different positions, right? So we're actually not going to do a standard bow and arrow. Instead, we're going to kind of do a little bit of a lunging bow and arrow here. But the stick is going back. So we're lengthening those spiral lines here. Now, the leg that is forward, we're rotating towards that side, right? So whatever leg is back, that's going to be the side we're actively stretching here. So I'm going to have my right foot back, left leg is going to be forward here. Take a relatively wide stance just so you don't actually lose balance. So don't be afraid to widen out your base as much as you need to. Now the stick, you'll notice, is basically right behind my hips. I want to keep the bottom of the stick right behind my hips here. And it's about a couple inches away from the outside of my lead foot. Now from this position here, I want to have my left hand roughly about hip level. Right hand comes up over the top, thumb facing down towards the floor. Now, first thing we do is we squeeze that back glute. So I'm going to fire that right glute. I'm going to sink forward a little bit, and then I'm going to extend both hands out. So I'm getting a back bend, but I'm getting a huge stretch on that interior line. Excellent. Bring the stick back in nice and slow. Stand up and ease off. Let's switch sides. So I'll actually turn forward. Don't worry, we're going to come back to the other side, I promise. Bring the stick back here. Left hand comes up and over the top, thumb facing down. Squeeze that back glute. Sink forward. And then drive those hands out. 3, 2, 1, and ease off. Nice and slow. Let's go ahead and switch sides again. So step back with the right, left leg forward, left hand is about hip height, right hand comes up and over, thumb facing down towards the floor, squeeze the right glute, and then extend both hands out. And we're pushing the stick away from that right hip so it's going diagonally. Back in, ease off. Switch sides one more time here, folks. The last one, I promise. Just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. So from here, squeeze that back glute, shift those hips forward, drive those hands out. Breathe. 3, 2, 1, and ease off. And that, my friends, concludes today's stick mobility class. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. I am Coach Ray. Hope everybody had a good class. I will be sure to catch y'all next weekend. As usual, stay safe. Enjoy your weekend. Have a good time today, folks.